Hey guys, let's paint some materials in Blender. Uh, First, let's add a cube, right? Let's make sure this cube is unwrapped. If it's not unwrapped, you select everything, press U in Smart UV Project, and then you are gonna unwrap that, right? And everything you need is here. Let's add a material, new material, and here we go. This is the material, we have it. We press uh, principal BSD and uh, make sure you have this add-on Node Wrangler on, right? Just works with that. Press Ctrl T and bring the texture. Let's say concrete, so we can see here our concrete texture, right? Gonna get this guy. Um, we're gonna clone this guy. Shift D, clone this guy here. I'm gonna do this very quick. Probably, maybe I will do some not necessary step, but it doesn't really matter. I'm just putting this texture here and not the same texture connected, just in case you want to put a different texture, right? But for now, it's the same texture. We can see the bump happening here. So then what we do, we will call this material concrete, right? Choose this kind of roughness, that's fine. Then what I normally do is that I select everything, press Ctrl G, so I make it a group, right? In this group, I press N to see, I would name it concrete. I will leave the color gray, just to know it is the gray color, right? And then what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna duplicate this guy here, put it here. I will make sure this is a unique group and not the same. So what I change here, it doesn't change here, right? So in this one, I'm gonna put the name red, concrete red, right? And here I press tab, go inside, and instead of this texture, I'm going for the concrete red, something like this, and make sure here we have the same, or we can just connect here and avoid extra things, right? So I take this, and then I'm gonna duplicate that again, right? And then for this one, I do the same thing, and then I'm gonna put asphalt, right? Go inside, bring instead of this texture, I'm gonna take the asphalt, this one, yeah? Okay. Now, if we connect this guy, we will have probably the red concrete, and if we have this guy, we have the asphalt one. All right, let's go here inside this guy and make the specular follows more or less the texture, so we have less specular, maybe a little bit more bumpy, right? Yeah. And one thing that I like to do is this. I like to put grab a matte value, I press Shift A and go to converter. I take math, and then I connect this guy here, this guy in the scale, and then I put this as a multiply, right? And then I get the group. I go out the node, and then I take this value here, and I change the name to, let's say, how can I change this name here? I think it's here, group. Yeah, I changed the name to scale or something, right? So in order to in order to just use the same thing, I'm gonna use Control C, take this guy, go here inside this one, Control D, Control V, and then I will do the same thing here to the scale and put this name scale, right? Go out. I will do the same thing here, Control V. I should have been doing this from the first note, so I would not repeat again. Then we have this. Now we can control the scale here, right? That's okay. Now let's paint. In order for us to paint, we are gonna create a texture, Shift A, and then bring image texture, and we're gonna create a new texture called alpha or whatever you want to call, and you choose the size of your texture, press enter, and now we have our texture alpha. And the first thing, we are gonna press Shift A, bring the shader, mix shader, right? And then we are gonna mix them here, right? So now we have a factor that will basically draw the shaders from regular concrete, the regular concrete, to the red concrete, right? From one to the other. And then we are gonna take the same mix shader, put it here, and take this guy, put it here. And what I like to do is now I go here in this node, in the color, I choose this green, pure green. I will choose this pure red, pure red. This guy, I will choose this guy pure blue, pure blue, right? So I have them very distinguished here, right? So now let's use this guy here, this mask, to mask the shaders we want to combine here, right? And what we do, we need Shift A, something to separate the RGB. So we take the color from this alpha texture that we had created, and then we paint uh, green here, so we know this is a green shader that's gonna define both here. And we take blue and put it here. We could even create another one. Let's create another one so you get something even fancier, something like this. Remember, remove here, put like grass or moss, maybe. Then we go here inside. Then we go to our landscaping texture or something. Let's say, let me grab a texture here on my landscaping. On my landscaping, I have this guy here, which I'm gonna bring it here. It's not a moisture, but it's gonna work. Then I'll take this guy, and now we have the other one. So this, I'm gonna put this as a green between green and white. This one I'm gonna put it full white. This one, which is connected with the blue, and this one will be connected with the red. So let's go full red, right? Full red. and then we go red. So now we have a good visual here of what's going on. All right. All right. So let's paint them. Let's put this guy here. Okay. To paint this one, we just need to press Control Tab, Control Tab, and go to Texture Painting. Inside the Texture Painting, press T, oh no, N, and then go to the tool. So we have lots of options here. We are gonna choose a single image, and we are gonna put our alpha here, right? And then we are gonna go create a new palette to make our life easier, right? And here we're gonna go full red, full red, and then we add this palette here. Now we are going to full green, we add it here, and now we go full blue, we add it here, and now we go to black, we add it here. So if we check it out in our visuals, we know exactly what we are talking about. So the concrete is the green one. If we paint the green one, we go to the concrete, to the red concrete, right? So we go to the red concrete, to the red concrete, which is okay, it's fine. If we press black, we go back to the concrete, the original concrete. So in this case, I'm gonna change this guy to black, and this guy I'm gonna change it to pure green. So we have a better reference, right? Pure green. So now we know that pure green goes to the red concrete, right? Black goes back to the main concrete. Blue takes to the asphalt, right? It takes to the asphalt, right? And then we can paint here everywhere and then go back to red concrete, right? Red concrete. Or we can go to the moss, which is the red one, right? With the red one, and we can scale up this moss more or less, right? And then we can have it something fancy and painting back and forth, back to the asphalt, right? Back to the asphalt. And this method, unfortunately, because it mixes the colors, if we go here and bring the alpha, because it mixes the colors, and that's what defines the texture in this between, is there's always a mix between the other textures, so pay attention on that. The only way to avoid that is to, and make your life easy, is to create a different alpha channel for the different alpha textures for those maps, and then keep changing the alpha here, and then we don't need the colors, it's just black and white. But I like the color works well, right? I don't think the colors are a big issue, right? And I think it works pretty well. If you want to add a texture to make this overall blending area doesn't be like just fading out between one each other, or if your model starts to laggy, you can go here, and instead of having uh, the full combine pass, you just go to your diffuse colors, so you have just the diffuse and not lagging anymore. But I like to go, if my model is a simple model, I like to go like this, because we can see different things from different materials. Let's say if we go inside this concrete and we change the bump, right? We can see how the bump pops up. And if we change the roughness, right? We can see the roughness going on. If we change If we go here inside the red concrete, and instead of just that red, we add a hue saturation, and we put the saturation higher, we can have a better, you see, understanding where the red goes, the red concrete goes. Let's put this saturation 5 or something, and then now we go back here. We know that the red concrete is the green, so you see, we can see everything going on. And then in this case, we want to add a texture. Just pay attention that as soon as you put a texture, it's going to be black, so you're not going to be able to paint anything. You have to go here on your texture, go to your mask texture, and add something here, right? Add a new texture here. And you can add, for example, magic, musgrave texture, and you have the properties of your musgrave texture here, right? And you can play around with it. And you can go here into your colors and you put it the contrast higher, brightness, less brightness, something like this, maybe, you know, something like that. And then as soon as you start to paint here, you see that you're gonna paint with taking account that mask, right? And whatever you change, put it blue, the asphalt is gonna be painted according to the mask either. And this mask seems not to be moving now because you are just painting as a tile, but you always can use a stencil. And if you use a stencil, your mask will be here, so you will be able to move this guy pressing Alt and right button of the mouse, and press uh, Alt Shift and right button of the mouse. You can scale up and down, and uh, what's the other one? Alt Shift, you scale down, and Control Alt, you rotate. Control Alt and right mouse button. So with the right mouse button, you press Control Alt rotate, Alt Shift scale, and just Alt to move around your mask, right? And in here you always can make the tiles of your mask bigger, right? So in this case, you can go random, right? Then you will have something very random to play with. We can go to the moss. What's the moss? Red. We go to moss, and then we will have something like this, you know? We can something like this. Then we will have. It's kind of nice too to paint it over all over. If you go to render in cycles, you see. Oh, it's not saved yet. So whatever you do here, you have to save the textures first, right? So you have to save this texture here, alpha 2, save it, right? So how can you do this? How can you do this? You go here in your single image, the image that you had created, right? And then you save that. You go here into alpha and save that image, right? Save whatever you want it, like desktop or whatever. And then you should be able to save here. And I don't know why it's not allowing me to save here, but probably you will be able to save there. So now if we go to cycles, we have that image here updated, and whatever change we do here, oh, because I didn't save first. So now we save all the images. If we go to cycles, we will have the updates here, right? And we can go to the mouse, for example, press a tab and play around with settings all over the place. Specular, roughness. Let's see here. Roughness, specular. If we go to full metallic, just to make something crazy, full metallic, move the bumpiness. We will have this full metallic, full glossiness, this moss, full glossiness. You see? So everything we painted here, we will be putting the glossiness, moss, move this guy. All right. So yeah, pretty much that's it. That's it. I don't know what happened if we turn it this options for preserving the normals here. What did happen? Oh, okay. It gets crazy. Yeah. But anyway, that was a test. Okay, so now you have your setup of your texture. If for some reason you need this texture to put in your diffuse, just one texture and not this full complete package, you always can go here in your cycles and bake it into your diffuse texture, right? Just the color. You can bake it, right? And then you have your material. But if you are gonna, this is just if your intention is to take this model to somewhere, to another place, you can take it or use the same alpha texture to separating the RGB and creating the same thing. But if this is not your goal, you just need to get this model somewhere. You just can create another texture here, shader texture, image texture, create a new texture. Let's say you put this 2K, select this texture here in bake. You just press bake, and that's all. It's gonna bake it. Let's put less samples here just so we don't need that much. We bake it, and then after that we have our texture full baked here. We can just replace, and here we go. We have our texture here, right? If you want this to be, if you want this to be uh, something like this, which is with the bumpiness, the glossiness, and all of that, we just need to create a material. Let's say this guy, and apply the same texture. Basically, that's what I did, right? Bump, similar. Not the same because here we have all the shades, the materials in a different way, so you can tweak the materials independently. And here we have just one texture defining all the materials, so you don't have that much range to play around with. But if you want to get this object somewhere, is that's the way you do this, right? Go here and see your texture. Your texture will be here. because it's just this texture bake. Right? I hope you enjoy it. See you